The main reason why we haven't been recording pretty much all of this past month is mostly because of Connor's massive achievement.
Now you're the biggest W of the year,
Yeah,
possibly the
absolutely.
century.
Cinema. Whenever I put my hands up, I just think
It
of
was,
the
it was,
damn
though.
Martin Scorsese
Yeah.
fucking clip. Yeah, no. Well, I mean, you went away too, but yeah. What was it? April 1st, I started cycling and haven't stopped now. Cycled here actually.
Cycled here,
Just never stopped. Yeah.
Wait,
In case you missed it, Connor raised $1 million
Wow.
for charity.
Yeah,
Didn't
right,
do it
which,
alone. Had help from the boys. Okay, we'll get into that. Well, we had the crew, Chris, obviously, and Felix joined in. It was a lot of fun. My favorite part during the entire journey was that Chris had like devised a reason why you weren't there. He was like, Joey's probably like in a fucking hammock or something. Hammock. And so every time we would get to like a shit hill, or Chris would be annoyed, he'd be like, but Joey's at home sitting in his fucking hammock right now.
Why is it in Chris's head Joey equals hammock? I mean, I do have a hammock at home too.
That's fine.
But I wasn't in the hammock.
What does Joey do? Why is he sitting in a fucking hammock somewhere?
Right. Well, the reason why I wasn't at the Cyclethon was because I had a bunch of friends and family visiting the entire time.
Joey made the right decision because if he said yes, he would have joined me on the worst day of the Cyclethon, if I understand correctly.
I guess I'll just, because I'm sure not everyone who watched it. I did 2 weeks of cycling to raise money for the Immunodeficiency Foundation. I cycled from Shimonoseki in Yamaguchi all the way to Tokyo Tower. It was 2 weeks it took, and we changed a lot of things this time. We did a little bit less cycling every day, and
that was less cycling every day.
That was
less.
Like about 20% less.
That was less.
About 20% less.
What?
You had the easiest day. One of the easiest days. We'll talk about that. And then, so we mixed it up. We did less cycling, and then we did more fun things. Well, some days we did more fun things. Don's not happy about his day. And the first 2 days we just did me and Chris, and then we had guests join us for like 2 days at a time. And Garnt was the first guest. And Garnt had
I joined on day 3, and I remember Connor asking me, hey, do you want to join a cyclethon thing? And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's join. He's like, it's gonna be a lot of fun, we're gonna go to a lot of cool places, it's gonna be like a nice chill cycle, we're gonna do less cycling. And then I think we briefly talked about there might be rain, but let's not think about that.
Okay.
Let's not think about that.
Sure.
And I think that was just like bad omens, because I remember it was like a few days before, and I looked at the weather forecast, and it was just like, oh, there's like a little bit of rain.
Okay.
And every time,
it was like forecast like for the first week it was going to rain. And I was like, oh fuck.
There's gonna be a little bit of rain. I swear, every time I checked it, like you know when like you're just hoping the forecast is wrong, and you're like, okay, the next day when I check it, it's gonna change and it's gonna get a little bit better.
Yeah.
Every day I checked it, it got like progressively worse and worse, and it was like, no, it's like 20% chance of rain. No, it's like 30% chance of rain. Okay, now it's like 80%, and it's going to be a downpour. And I'm like,
shit.
Yeah. So you joined us at Iwakuni, which is like a weird area of Japan that's kind of most famous for having a giant military base.
I didn't know that because I got on this plane. I'd never heard of Iwakuni before, never heard of this place. Got on the plane, and it was like so many foreigners. I was like, what is going on in Iwakuni? I have never heard of this place before.
It's like a secret tourist destination or something.
And one of the like strangest aspects of this, and I don't know if they did this on purpose, like if the whole city was designed around this, but like the airport is pretty much in the town center.
Oh.
So like the train station is 5-minute drive from the airport. It's so close.
Jesus. What prefecture is this? Do you remember?
I think is Iwakuni still Yamaguchi? I can't remember if it is, or maybe Hiroshima prefecture.
Okay.
One of the two. I think one of the two. Or maybe I'm blanking out a prefecture in between. But
Okayama, is it?
No. Okayama's after.
Oh
Hiroshima.
right. So it must be Hiroshima. Yeah. Anyway.
And we got there, and I mean, we were very lucky. The first 2 days it didn't rain, and when we got to Iwakuni and looked at the forecast, it was like 100% chance it was going to rain the next day.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was going to rain. Like those clouds were like shit. And then Garnt was arriving at like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So we were like, all right, well, we'll go to an Italian restaurant. And we go there and we sit down, and their thing was all you can drink wine.
Okay.
We were cycling, so I'm like, I'm good. Yeah. But then sitting next to us was this really big, old, kind of like a little bit chubby, like a very Santa Claus-esque looking like American man.
Sure.
Who, for the lack of like better way to describe him, was like, imagine Pete 20 years in the future, and he let himself go a little bit.
I can imagine
because
it,
within like seconds of sitting down, this man was chatting up a storm to us.
Right.
And he was like, I've been married 20 years. And we were like, what's the secret to being married? He's like, I don't tell my wife shit. And he's like, that's the secret to being happy. He's like, you got to keep a little bit of secrets from her. And I was like, what
is blood yapping about?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it must work.
He was just telling us about, like, he was like, yeah, I used to be so rich, and then now I'm broke. He was just like laughing. And then he was like, now don't order the wine separate. Make sure you get all you can drink. And we were like, it's okay. He's like, get the all you can eat pizza. I was like, no, I'm good. And he was just talking to us, and he was telling us all about how he designed the military bases and yapping. And then we had a nice meal, and we finished up. And then Garnt came, and then you came to the hotel room, right? But we were already asleep by then.
Yeah, you guys were already asleep by the time I arrived. So I woke up, and I was like, maybe last minute chance that maybe God will bless me with the weather on like the first day.
Right.
Wake up. It's fucking downpouring,
it's
man.
Really like full on. Like it is like
the UK weather, bro.
It's like torrential rain.
Yeah, it is like torrential rain. And it's probably a good thing that it was like day one, because at least like my spirits were about as high as they could be, because I wanted to like bring some energy.
Yeah.
It was
like, how could it get
one.
any worse?
How could it get any worse?
Yeah.
And I was like still smiling. I was like, we'll get through this. And it was like, I think it was the first leg that I realized, this is
fucked.
I'm fucked. I
remember we went to the Combini for breakfast, and then Garnt looked tired, and then we were buying the coffee and sandwiches, and Garnt goes, "It'll be type 2 fun, right?" I said, "No." It won't. This will not be any fun.
I can confirm. So if you don't know, type 2 fun is the type of fun that you look back on and you have fun.
Yeah.
Now that I'm looking back on it, it was not fun. It was absolutely not fun. It was character building, which is not type 2 fun. It was character building.
It was bad. It was like, I think it was about 80 kilometers, which is one of the more like, I'd say average days. It wasn't like too much, too bad, but it did have a lot more hills than what we were doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was hills combined with...
And it was pouring the whole time.
Yeah, it did get a little bit less, a little bit during lunch, but then it came right back.
Yeah.
And like the Google forecast thing, I'd never seen this before. To like judge how much rain, they have a raindrop that's like either like a little bit full. The raindrop was full.
Yeah.
I think it was like 8 centimeters an hour of rain.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was, as we're cycling, it's literally just complete puddles on the road. Can barely see because of just how much rain there is.
Far out.
Freezing as well.
Yeah.
It's so cold with the rain.
Yeah, that was something like I didn't prepare for, which I brought some rain clothes.
It doesn't do anything though.
Yeah, it doesn't do
bad.
anything. And I fully realized that when even before we got to lunch, we had a pit stop, and I was like, I can't stop shaking. And
I felt very bad.
You put this man through torture, bro.
I did it too.
I mean, you put yourself through torture.
I said yes to it.
It's for a good cause. It's for a good cause.
It was for a good cause, but...
This is what you missed out on.
Yeah.
Oh no, what a shame.
Joey, yeah.
It was so funny because we cycled like, that first pit stop, we stopped by, what was it, Miyajima? The famous shrine in the water was...
Yeah.
And we were like in the parking lot, be like, "Look, you can maybe see it over there." It's just like no fun.
You can see
to be
the
honest.
outline of it.
It was like, at least with like the cycling special, I was like suffering. But I'm like, what a fucking beautiful view. What a fucking beautiful view.
Yeah.
In this one, I was suffering, and also the views were shit. I could not see shit. So I was just cold, shivering.
I don't know, man. I specifically remember in the cycling special, there was a segment where you clearly said, fuck this view. Fuck everything. So even if the weather was good, man, I don't know if you would have been
I was like, take me back to that view, man.
See, like, remember how much we cycled in the cycling special? Garnt cycled like an extra 20 kilometers. In the
and
rain.
it was uphill.
And it was more uphill.
Yeah.
So
did you at least have a proper bicycle this time?
Yeah, I did have a proper bicycle
that's
this
good,
time, which I think definitely helped me on the first day. It was the second day that I really that was like a different issue. So like the first day, I actually felt pretty bad because I actually complained less on this one, even though it was like way worse of an experience. I complained less on because it was for a good cause. I was trying to do it for charity.
Of course, yeah.
I actually wanted to be. I feel kind of bad. I haven't told you this, but I wanted to be more entertaining. I wanted to be more on camera, more energetic. But like all of my energy day one was just
surviving.
No,
I mean,
I don't think anyone blames you for that.
I mean, I felt bad. I wanted to bring more energy.
It's tough, man.
Because unlike the cycling special, I did actually train for this one, and I'm so glad I did actually try to up my stamina for it because like I got asthma and all that stuff. And
I mean, you did great. I mean, like you powered through and did it.
It's not an easy thing to do.
I definitely couldn't have finished it if I came into it with the same like physical capabilities as like the cycling special.
Right.
There was absolutely no way.
Yeah, you were a lot fitter than when you did that one.
Yeah. And even though I was fitter, I just about hit my limit when we got to like the end goal on like day one.
I know.
And I was just like, holy shit, I'm at like 0 now. I couldn't have gone on if there was like an extra like 5 kilometers or something. I would have been like, guys, I got to call it.
I mean, you could have easily. We said to all the guests. I think next time if we did it, we'd give the guests e-bikes as like an option because the e-bikes don't last all day either. But like once you get to a hill, it's like. You don't need to suffer like
sure.
You don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Like I don't think killing a guest was like worth the point. And then you can focus on being more entertaining, right?
And I actually think like honestly, I actually think day 2 was tougher for me, even though like
because you're just dead.
Even though like it was technically the easier day because day 1 was like, all right, grit your fucking teeth, get through this. Power through the rain, you fucking got this, Garnt. And I like expended everything, willpower, physical prowess. And then day 2 came, and even though it was like the easier day, I remember the first like 10 kilometers of that, I'm like, fucking hell, I can't. I fucking can't. I physically can't.
Day 2 is always the worst, I think, actually, of any of the cycles that I've done or any kind of thing like that. Because like day 2 is the first day where you've just done exercise and your body really doesn't want to do it.
It needs to
because like
rest,
day 10, I'm like, all right. I really like, I'm kind of in like Groundhog Day and I don't want to do it. But like in terms of like doing it, I'm like, well, we're done it 9 days. But day 2, it's like my body really and not every other day, any other day that you would work super hard in one day, you would normally take the next day off, right?
Where does it hurt the most?
Your ass.
It depends on the guest. Pete said his neck hurt the most.
I can see that because
you're looking up a lot.
Because you're looking
I see.
because on like a proper
road bike,
road bike, so you got to look up. My ass hurt so fucking much that it physically, I like got nightmares of like I'm not even joking. Like I remember the day after the cyclethon, I had a nightmare where I never remember my nightmares, but for some reason
you remember this one?
For some reason you invited me to watch Dune 2.
Why is that a nightmare? That's something a great time.
And then I went, and then we go to the cinema, and I remember instead of having like comfy seats, they just had like the cycle seats, and I'm like, Connor, I can't sit through this for 2.5 hours, and you're like, but God, we gotta watch Dune 2, man. It's so worth it.
That's so funny.
And then you're like,
specific dream.
I don't know. That was like that's all I remember from that.
That's how I imagine Americans feel when they have to go from like American cinema seats that are like super comfortable and reclined to European shitty ones. Where they're like really small and so upright. They're like, what is this? Such a funny dream.
Yeah, so like I like day two was mostly just me trying to like stand up because I physically like could not sit on my seat at all. But honestly, like the hardest part of day two, because it was like a lot of it was downhill. And I had a different issue that I was dealing with all day. It was try not to fucking die.
Yeah.
Because the bike that I rode was like fucking fantastic. It was like a like a $3,500 bike or some shit like that.
I'm not sure. I think it's
like a triathlon.
Triathlon, like a specialized Japan only version of this bike.
So I've never ridden on a bike like this. Like the tires are
very
like paper thin.
Yeah.
And it's like light as a feather.
You can pick it up with your pinky.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I picked it up with my pinky.
Yeah, it's so light. So normally it's for like experienced riders, and I am not an experienced cyclist at all.
Yeah.
And so going downhill, there was a section where we went downhill for what seemed like half an hour or something.
We did like 20 kilometers downhill.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Because we'd done so much uphill the day before.
Yeah.
The next day was mostly downhill.
Right.
Yeah.
It was really
So Chris was going in front, so I was following Chris, right? And he just speeds downhill, right? And I was like gripping my brakes for dear life because you're going downhill and you got trucks just like overtaking you like every 5 minutes or so.
Right.
And every time the truck passed me, it made like a wind vortex.
Yeah.
And because my bike was like the truck was like a Tesla zone. And my bike was just like being sucked into it.
Yeah, because like obviously you have loads of wind coming your way and then the truck just suddenly cuts it off.
Yeah,
and then your bike goes like whoosh.
Yeah.
Like you do like get sucked in.
Like the air pressure, right?
Like the air pressure gets sucked in. And like if a truck got too close, I was just like you could feel the wind just blowing me about.
Because that clip did got a lot of views. Because people were like, holy shit. Because the guy, because when I watched the clip and it's like me going, holy shit. I'm like, God, truck. Because the truck went really fast by me.
Yeah.
And you were obviously not as close to the curb, but really the truck shouldn't have overtaken there.
Yeah. I mean, because I saw the comments like, oh, Garnt should have been closer to the curb.
No,
I was not confident in my like bike control that I wanted to just for my own safety. I was like, okay, I will be an asshole and just give myself a little bit more space because
that's the safer thing to do.
Safety,
because I was like, I'm not used to this bike. It wobbles very easily, so I don't want to hit the curb while like a car is like overtaking me.
But that truck was trying to overtake because there was traffic coming towards him and he wanted to really do it quickly, which is almost scarier.
Yeah.
But when you go downhill, sometimes it's, I don't know. I have no idea actually what the proper thing to do is when you're going downhill. But normally I just try and go as fast as possible so that cars don't overtake me.
I don't know if that's the right thing to do.
Because if I'm going the speed limit, then the cars shouldn't be overtaking me.
Yeah, I have.
And then I normally go a bit more in the road.
So I don't know.
But obviously, I wouldn't do it on your. Actually, I wouldn't do it on your bike though. My bike's got thicker tires.
Yeah, my bike was like was
scary.
If I lose control for just a second, and I had flashbacks of the Hawaii special where I lost control and I immediately fell over. I was like, if I fall over while going down this hill, I am going to die and get run over.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this fucking like the most terrifying part of the cyclethon, which unfortunately wasn't on camera, was Chris went into this tunnel.
My god, yeah.
And apparently cyclists weren't allowed in this tunnel.
No, we were allowed in the tunnel.
Okay.
But there was these two roads that came out afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'm a flame Chris. I'm looking at the maps. I'm the one like guiding us. I'm streaming too.
Yeah.
And Chris won't even look at the fucking road signs. It clears this big no bicycle sign, and Chris goes right fucking down it.
Oh my
god.
god.
It says no bicycles mainly because it's not that long. So it was fine. They went down it, but probably shouldn't have because it's like basically cars are coming down at like 50 kilometers an hour, and it's really tight bends around a corner that you can't see.
Yeah.
So the only worry is that if people were coming down too fast, there wouldn't be enough room for them to slow down.
I see. So I remember following Chris into this one tunnel, and it was like super dark, right? To the point where you could not get a clear vision of the road.
Yeah.
So I was going down at however many kilometers per hour I was
30,
going down. Probably like
30 or 40 probably.
Yeah, 30, 40 with like trucks overtaking me. Couldn't see the road.
Scary.
And I was like, if I hit a pothole, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I'm just dead. I'm putting my faith in God, that I'm putting my faith in one God and to the Japanese construction workers that they have made an immaculate road that will not like falter at all.
Not to be like that like conspiracy guy, but isn't it like the chances of having potholes in tunnels way less? Because isn't potholes caused by rain?
Not sure.
I have no idea.
Well, but I guess if it's on a mountain, because the rain would go down into it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But also temperature differences.
Right. Isn't it because the water goes in, freezes,
Yeah.
expands it, and then when it thaws, it cracks. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
But
what the
normally,
size potholes are.
I mean, I don't know what the best way to handle it is, but normally
Yeah.
I just come off my seat and then put my legs as like suspension and grip really
Yeah.
tight. So if there's a bump, my legs just go like, my legs
Right.
tank it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, there's some really nasty potholes there that are like,
Exactly. So before this tunnel, like this, I was like locked the fuck in. And
you have to lock it.
you have to be locked the fuck in. What made it like even scarier was, you know, a lot of it I was comfortable because I could hear Connor behind me.
Yeah.
And then like before the tunnel, the last thing I heard was, "Oh my god, chat, this is so hype!" And we go into the tunnel, and then I don't look back. I don't hear Connor at all.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, can't hear Connor, whatever. Maybe he's like slowed down, whatever. I continue bobbing it down this hill. Don't hear Connor. I see Chris stop at the traffic lights. I'm like, finally, after like 10 minutes of going down this hill, I'm like, oh, catch my breath. Look back. There is no Connor in sight. Connor is like
oh my
nowhere
God,
to be
he's dead.
seen. And I'm like, is he fucking dead? is his last words gonna be, "Oh my god,
would be a good clip though. No, I saw the sign and I was really confused, and I stopped and I was like, I wonder, and I was trying to figure out what to do, and then Chris just like texted me like, "Oh, come on, dickhead, go ahead, go forward." I'm like, Chris, I don't want to fucking die. So I was trying to figure out which way to go, and then it turned out if I went off the main road, it would join back up really quickly.
Oh, okay.
So it was not a big deal, but in the end, it took like 10 minutes to figure that out of me looking at the map.
Right.
So I didn't die.
Yeah.
But most of the time I was trying to body block for Garnt. I was trying to like get behind him so that like, and leave a little extra room so they wouldn't try and overtake.
Right.
Because sometimes they can see me, but I always worry that when they overtake, if they think they're just overtaking one cyclist,
Yeah.
and then when they come out, they see like three, and they're like, fuck it, and it's like, no, don't fuck it,
don't fuck it.
come,
No.
stay, don't overtake us. There's three of us together.
Yeah.
So try to keep safe so that doesn't happen. But obviously, sometimes people still overtake. But I mean, I don't mind if it's a giant open road and you can clearly see no cars. But I get nervous when they speed up really quickly and they can see a car coming, and I know that like what are you trying to do, man? Like, is it really worth 5 minutes of your life doing this risk? But some people are like, it is.
Yeah.
It is worth 5 minutes. It's like, you're going to stop at a fucking 7-Eleven in 2 minutes to get your fucking coffee. Yeah, I think you can fucking just wait.
Some people have played too much GTA.
Yeah.
But I mean, Garnt had the second day, that was the challenge. But the first day, we managed to survive it.
Honestly,
but the okonomiyaki we had was amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing. Honestly,
Ian knew a great
Well,
place.
I thought you weren't a fan of okonomiyaki.
Dude, this one was great.
okay,
Yeah.
after a cycle, it's just like anything tastes like
go.
fucking.
And it was Hiroshima style.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Hiroshima
Because
style
we were in
is way
Hiroshima.
better.
Hiroshima
Yeah.
style is goated.
There was like this really like Ian knew this mom and pop shop, and it was awesome. They did this like they asked what type of noodles you wanted as well in your okonomiyaki. So there's some spicy, crispy ones.
Hell yeah.
It was so good.
So
but
good.
it was so hard to enjoy the meal because I was just so cold. And I was trying to warm up.
Yeah.
And then we went to like this hardware store after it, which kind of helped.
You went to the hardware store to warm up?
Well, we went to get more because all of our stuff was so soaked.
Oh, I see,
So
I
we
see.
went to get new rain gear.
Yeah.
It turns out like everything that says it's water resistant or waterproof is true for about 30 minutes.
Right.
Until the rain just wins.
Makes its way.
The rain it just says, nah, I'd win. It's true. Dude, it doesn't matter how thick it is. If you're just in the rain for so long and it's that bad, it just gives up after a while. Yeah. Like the gloves, I had gloves and then I had like basically like a very thick plastic bag over my hands.
Right.
And after about 30 minutes, it just doesn't do anything. It just doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But it did help a little bit.
It did help.
But again, like the hardest part is just like you start at like 9 a.m. and you're already soaked by 10 and cold, and you're like, I'm gonna be like this until like 6. And there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
Yeah, honestly, do you know what my biggest regret is? It was that my suffering wasn't on camera more.
Yeah.
Because all of my the difference between like this Cyclethon and the Trash Taste special was that there was always a GoPro to like document all of the fucking shitty things I was going through and all my complaining. With the Cyclethon, because I was just like surviving, Connor and Chris were just like 90% of the time just like way ahead of me, just waiting for me. And it was just me going, kill me. And none of that was caught on camera.
We got some of it. I guess the lunch was great. We just had like a pseudo podcast. We were like trying to avoid doing anything but cycle.
Yeah.
Everything all right?
There was footage of Paul did take footage.
Yeah, and Paul got a bunch of footage.
Oh, okay.
So you're being Chris's video.
Okay, that's
so your suffering did not go in vain.
And when we went up that giant hill in the middle of nowhere, like where I was downpouring, I was like behind you. That was
that was a fun moment. Yeah.
And then we finally beat that hill.
Yeah.
It was good.
So some of it was type 2 fun.
Some of that's a reach, but I'll take
Garnt
it.
was so depressed when we had dinner that night. You were like a broken man. You were like,
I was.
I've never seen you so broken. We were trying to eat yakitori.
Is that picture that you guys posted with the gravy? Yeah. Garnt looked dead inside.
It wasn't like that night. It was like, oh, I got to do this again. Oh.
And that was the only day out of the 14 days that we had rain. We got super lucky and no other days rained.
Yep.
It was just like perfect after that.
Damn.
It was maybe like honestly too good at times.
Yeah.
It was too hot. It was too hot and too
Why are you
sunny.
rubbing it in his face like that, man?
I'm just saying. But
Sounds
hey, we
great.
raised a bunch of money that day.
Yeah.
It was a great
I hope
day.
so.
yeah.
It was all for a good cause. I'm happy to have taken part.
Hey, and everyone is always like, rip Garnt. He had the hardest part.